Hello, hello everyone. Welcome to your vinyasa practice. We today are going to review some of the concepts we've been going over in the last couple of weeks, namely the Sun Salutations, Surya Namaskar A, and the concepts within Surya Namaskar A, which is just another way to say Sun Salutation, of the form if we want to move through something like Chaturanga to upward facing dog. And Chaturanga is basically a plank with your elbows bent into the side of your body, your wrist underneath your elbows, and when you're moving through that Chaturanga, the classic or traditional form would be to get your bicep line parallel with the mat, not lower, but just in line or parallel with the mat. And from there, you press the arms straight into upward facing dog into your back bend. That's the classical approach to that Chaturanga up dog. And it's not the only way to teach it. It's certainly not the only way to practice it. But I do want you to know the difference between the classical and then the variations that we've added over time, which are great things to have in our back pocket when our wrists are sore or when the core strength isn't there, or if we have shoulder issues, or if there's something going on in the low back that doesn't allow you to press that halfway point into that big, huge back bend, because it can put a big, huge amount of pressure on the sacrum and the lumbar spine. So we'll move through some modified sun salutations first, and then we'll move through some classic sun salutations, and then we'll do a little bit of interior or adduction hip lengthening work. Okay, so let's start out. One more thing, actually, I'd like you to have either a block, or if you don't have blocks at home, no big deal, we'll get creative. You can have a throw pillow, you could have a book, just something that you can use a prop. And it's really a prop that you're going to use today more like something to hold in your hand and to kind of look at as a focal point, not necessarily something to rest your weight on. Okay, so it could be anything that you can hold in your hand, just one of your hands easily. Let's come to the top of our mat. You can just set your prop off to the side and just start by rooting through the soles of the feet. You can rock the weight forward and backward a few times. You could roll to the outer edge of the feet, and you could roll to the inner edge of the feet, and start to see if you can find this semblance of balance through all 4 points of the foot. I like to pick up my toes and kind of wiggle them and then set them back down and relax them. Relax your arms alongside your body. Tuck your tailbone under, feel your frontal hip points lift up, and then soften your front ribs in, right? So it's a nice clean line. Shoulders stack over hips, and then the ears stack over shoulders, and we grow tall through the crown of our head. Let's take a few breaths here, just with the eyes closed. Start to get a sense of your breath today. Where does it feel easeful? Where does it feel effortful? And so in our vinyasa practice, the idea is that we're typically linking our breath to our movement. So it tends to have that quicker pace, but we're also going to slow that down a little bit. So we'll do both. We'll try the breath to movement, and then we'll try pausing and breathing within a shape itself. Just to keep that in mind, let's inhale, stretch the arms out and up. Feel the sides of the waist lengthening. And then as you exhale, start to forward fold. Bend those knees, relax the head. Inhale, find your halfway lift. And fingertips to shins. And this is like a core strengthener and a little bit of a back bend right here. So can you feel your navel hugging into your spine? Shoulder blades moving down the back and the crown of the head straight forward. You're still gazing down, so back of the neck is long. That's your halfway lift. Your exhale to fold, plant the hands, stepping back into high plank. You want to know the Sanskrit for this? Ardha Chaturanga Dandasana, because it's a half Chaturanga, even though the arms are straight. Ardha Chaturanga Dandasana. So breathe in here again, feel that core engage, feel the thighs fire up, kneecaps lift, press the floor away, slight round through the upper back. And then on your exhale, set the knees down, come all the way to the belly. Walk your elbows forward, come into Sphinx. Okay, so this is one way to create that action of upward facing dog in the body with less weight on the hands. And you can walk your elbows forward as much as you need to decrease the sensation in the lumbar spine if it's too much. I do want you to engage the backs of the legs. So squeeze the glutes. Can you feel your hamstrings even fire? And stretch back through the toes. Press down through the fingertips. And it's like you're trying to pull your body forward. It's like you're trying to pull your chest forward between your arms. Deep breath here. Deep breath out. So can you feel the stretch across the front of the body and the compression across the back body? Now we're going to come into forearm plank. So interlace the fingers to the webbing, press down through the pinky edges of the hand. Press down through the outer forearms, curl the toes, lift just the pelvis up first. You're still on your knees. Feel your navel hug into your spine. This should be challenging. Even though the knees are down, it's still a challenge. And then maybe lift the knees up. So either supported forearm plank or full forearm plank. Still think about that long line of energy from crown of the head to the heel bones. Deep breath in. And then breath out will come back to the belly, back to the pelvis, back to Sphinx. Take an inhale in Sphinx. And then exhale, walk your hands underneath the shoulders, curl your toes, tuck your chin, rest your forehead, engage your quadriceps, lift your kneecaps. Pressing into the hands and the toes, can you rise up to high plank, Ardha Chaturanga Dandasana? Pressing into the hands, lift your hips up, Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. I'm gonna pause here for a few breaths. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. One more time, inhale, exhale. Start to lift the heels, little bend in those knees. Just step your feet forward. Stepping your feet forward, inhaling into your halfway lift. Feel the core engage. Feel the shoulders move down the back. So back body and front body are working. Exhale, refold. Uttanasana. Just folding the upper body over the lower body. Press through those feet, sweep the arms out, reach all the way up. And then exhale, relax your arms. Okay, so that's one variation or modification of Surya Namaskar A, your classical sun salutation with modifications. We're going to move through that again twice more, but this time we'll move through more breath to movement. So just a tiny bit quicker. I'm not asking you to rush, but see if you can let your inhale guide you and your exhale guide you, okay? Inhale, arms sweep out and up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift, use your muscles. Exhale, bend the knees, plant the palms, step back, high plank. Inhale, shift forward onto those toes. Exhale, lower all the way to the belly. Inhale, walk your elbows forward and find Sphinx here. We're going to take a full breath cycle in Sphinx, breathing in and breathing out. Adding on that forearm plank, interlace the fingers to the webbing, tucking the toes. First, lift the pelvis, feel your belly engage, and then maybe lift your kneecaps off the mat. Full breath in, full breath out. Lower back down to the pelvis and the belly. Walk the hands underneath the shoulders. Prepare to press up to high plank. Take a deep breath in. And then on your exhale, press into the hands and the feet, high plank, and then lift the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Full breath cycle here. Inhale, exhale. One more time, inhale, Exhale. Lift the heels, bend the knees, step your way forward. When you get to the top of your mat, it's an inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Root through those feet, sweep the arms out and reach up. Exhale, relax the arms. And one more time, just like that, with our modification of our sun salutation in Sphinx and forearm plank. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the palms. Ardha Chaturanga Dandasana. That's your high plank. Shift forward onto those toes. Lower all the way to the belly. Walk the elbows forward. First, find Sphinx. Find that back bend with integrity, engaging the muscles. And then you can start to interlace the hands if you're coming into a variation of forearm plank or forearm plank itself. Take a full breath cycle. And then lowering back down, planting the palms underneath the shoulders. Prepare to press up to high plank. And then downward facing dog, 2 full breath cycles in downward facing dog. Lift the heels, start to make your way forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold in. Root down through the feet, rise up with the upper body, reaching through the arms all the way overhead. Exhale, relax your arms. Okay, so you have that in your back pocket. If you ever want to modify, that's one way you might do a modification of a sun salutation to build that strength in the core and the awareness of what that Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, that back bend, should feel like in your body when you're pressing through the arms and straightening out. And I'm gonna give you the option to move through that classical sun salutation now. You will move through it again once slow and then twice breath to movement. Inhale, reach the arms out and up. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, find that halfway lift. Use the belly, hug the navel in, relax the shoulders. Exhale, fold, plant the hands, step back, high plank, and pause. Okay, so you're pausing in your high plank. You might remember last week I asked you to place a prop underneath the thighs. You can do that again. I just reached for a pillow, set it right in front of my knees, and then I came back up to high plank. Okay, so in high plank, we'll shift forward. You're gonna bend the elbows, keep them close. It's like they're wrapping in towards the rib cage. And then when they feel about parallel with the mat, then you release to the tops of the feet, press through the palms, straighten out through the arms, pull the chest forward, relax the shoulders down the back. You're still engaging the back muscles, so squeeze those glutes, squeeze those hamstrings. Find your breath in here. And then the exhale, we tuck the toes, we press up to high plank, moving fluidly all the way back to downward facing dog. Pause, 3 breath cycles in down dog. It's a lot harder to do a sun salutation in slow motion. Requires a lot of muscular strength and awareness, skill in action, which is the practice of yoga asana, the postures. Okay, so if you were using a prop underneath the thighs, feel free to leave it there. You can just simply step over it. We're going to come forward to the top of the mat, inhaling into Ardha Uttanasana, your halfway lift. Exhaling, forward fold, Uttanasana. Press through those feet, reach the arms out and up. Urdhva Hastasana in Tadasana. So Urdhva, upward facing, Hasta, hands, Tadasana, mountain pose. And then exhale, just pause. Hands can rest at the heart or relax the arms by the side. Take a moment here to just find your breath again. Breathe in, breathe out. Okay, so option to move breath and movement with me through those classical sun salutations. That's Chaturanga to upward facing dog, or you can keep utilizing that strength building exercise from Sphinx to forearm plank. Both are equally valuable. Let's inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, find your halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step back, high plank. Okay, and you're going to choose to shift forward. Maybe you find Chaturanga. Inhale, maybe you press up to Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, your back bend. Exhale, making your way all the way back to downward facing dog. Find your breath 3 times, inhaling, exhaling, inhaling, exhaling. One more breath here. Lifting the heels, bending the knees. Make your way forward. Inhale to your halfway lift. Exhale, Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, with integrity in the core, sweep up, reach up. Exhale the hands to the heart. One more time, classical sun salutation option. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Step back, high plank. Shifting forward onto the toes. Bending the elbows, keeping them close, especially if you're moving through that classical chaturanga, and then coming to the tops of the feet, pressing through those strong arms. Relax the shoulders down the back. Squeeze the glutes. And then making your way to downward facing dog. So the reason why I'm asking you to squeeze your glutes in your back bend, your upward facing dog, is so that you're not dumping into the lumbar spine, completely compressing without any muscular engagement. So squeezing the glutes, squeezing the backs of the legs will help to release some of that pressure in the low back. Let's take one more breath here in down dog. Inhale, lift the heels, bend the knees, make your way forward. Find that halfway lift at the top of your mat. Exhale, fold. Root through the feet, rise all the way up. Exhale the hands to the heart. If you're reusing that prop for chaturanga awareness, you can move that off to the side. And now I want you to pick up your prop, whatever you're going to use to just hold in your hands. Again, it could be that book, it could be a throw pillow, and if you have blocks at home, use them. We're just going to gently hold that prop in between our hands at the top of our mat and step back with our left foot. Left foot steps back. So we're landing into like a crescent lunge on Anjaneyasana. Take a few moments to adjust your feet and find your balance. I like a wider stance. If I'm losing my balance, I'll heel toe my right foot off to the right side, just to make a little bit more space for my hips. Deep breath in here. Deep breath out. And now we're going to spin that left foot flat and then heel toe that right foot back towards the midline of the mat. So front heel to back arch alignment typically works best for most bodies, certainly not everybody. Okay, and we'll bend that right knee into warrior 2. And then I'm just going to hold my block in my right hand as if I were carrying a tray. And I'm going to lean forward and rest my right forearm onto my right thigh. Okay, so it shifts my shoulders forward a little bit and settle into this shape. Now notice what happens to the back foot and the back leg. Can you stay actively pressing down there? And then maybe we add on this top arm. You could sweep that top arm down and forward and rotate the bicep alongside that top ear. So it's like I'm reaching through those top fingertips overhead over the top of the mat, and I'm pressing down through the pinky toe edge of the back foot. Okay, so here's one place that you can stay and work that core strength and the strength of the legs. If you want to, you can add on by turning your prop forward. Okay, so I'm just spinning my right fingertips forward while holding my prop. And then maybe I extend my arm straight forward. So I'm not holding any weight here in this elbow that's resting on that thigh. I'm actually making this big V shape with my arms, but my lower body hasn't changed at all. Can you find your breath wherever you are? And then we're just going to lift up into a reverse triangle pose. So I'm straightening out through the right leg. I'm reversing my arms, left arm reaching down, right arm reaching high. Still holding that prop with my right hand. And then I'm coming into Trikonasana triangle pose, still holding my prop. Now, if it's a block, you might rest your hand on the block inside of the front ankle and lift that left arm high. If it's something you can add weight to. But if you want more of that core challenge and the lengthening through the side waist, reach that right arm straight forward, just like you had your arms when you were bending your right knee. It's a lot of work on that core and obliques. Deep breath in. Breath out. Let's come all the way back up. Bend that right knee into warrior two. And then can you spin onto the ball mount of the left foot, turning the hips forward, step the left foot forward, top of the mat. So you're just coming back to the top of the mat. So we're going to try that on a second side. Shake out the legs. I'm going to continue to face you, so I'm going to just turn to the back of my mat. You can follow along with me or just listen to the cues of right and left. This time we're stepping the right foot back. Okay, so right foot steps back. Take a moment here to adjust in your crescent lunge. See what stance feels good in your body, what feels stable. Find your breath here. And then we'll spin that right foot flat. Open up into warrior two. Typically heel toe that left foot more towards the middle of the mat. You can look at that front heel to back arch alignment. Generally works best for most bodies. Okay, so we'll keep that bend in that left knee and then take our prop into our left hand. We're just going to lean forward and a little bit of gentle weight onto the left thigh with the left forearm. Stay aware of that right foot and right leg grounded and active. And then maybe we add that top arm sweeping down, forward, and then overhead. So imagine this line of energy from right fingertips to the pinky edge of the right foot. Really strongly reach and stretch simultaneously. Breathe in, breathe out. So if you really want to add on here, remember, use the core, use the obliques, keep the legs as they are, turn that left prop forward so it's pointing in the same direction as the left toes, and then maybe extend through that arm. Find your breath. Now let's reverse that. Give the legs a little break. Both legs are straight, right arm's reaching down, left arm's reaching higher. Still holding that prop. And we'll set up for a Trikonasana triangle. Okay, so maybe the prop you're holding works like a little kind of a prop or a kickstand for your hand, your left hand, and it's just gently resting there and the right arm can reach high. Or you can pick it up, hold it like we've been practicing, or throw it like I just did. Okay, so if you're holding onto your prop with your left hand and you want to practice that strength in the core, so valuable to have strength in the core, you can reach and extend through that left arm straight forward out of the shoulder socket. Find your breath, find both feet rooted, both glutes active and engaged as you're stretching through the arms. And then we'll simply come back up to warrior two. Okay, we're going to start to spin onto the ball mount of that right foot, so both hips pointing forward, crescent lunge, and then step the right foot forward, and back to the top of your mat. You can set that prop off to the side. We're going to start to cool it down now, moving through one more optional vinyasa flow just to rinse it out, find symmetry in the body. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Remember your options here, you always have them as you step back to high plank. You can move through Chaturanga up dog. You can continue to work that Sphinx and forearm plank. And then this time, let's just come back to hands and knees, hips to heels, and then forehead to the mat for child's pose. Getting a little bit closer to the ground, feeling the heart rate start to settle. And actually you might be feeling your heartbeat quicker than normal. But just see if you can utilize your breath to slow that heart down. So maybe longer inhales, longer exhales. Okay, so we're going to start to transition to our backs. However you want to get there, we're making our way onto our back with the knees bent and the feet planted. Reach your hands down alongside your body. See if your fingertips can actually tickle the backs of your heels, and then see if you can get your feet to feel like they're tracking in line with the hips, and it's like the ankles are right underneath the knees. Okay, so palms face down, press down through the hands, press down through the feet, lift the hips up. Bandha Sarvangasana, bridge pose. Okay, and from this position, lift the heels. So you're on the ball mounds of the feet, lift your heels, lift your heels. See if you can keep that as first you start to release the upper back, and then feel the lower back, and then feel the pelvis, and then the sacrum. Come to the mat, and then the heels release. Let's try that one more time. We'll press into the palms of the hands and the soles of the feet. Inhale, lift the hips up. Now lift the heels up. Take a big breath here. Lift those heels as high as you can. And then start to release the upper back first, then the low back, pelvis and sacrum, and finally the heels. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Lift that right foot up towards the ceiling. Just extend through that right leg for a moment, and then place the right ankle on top of the left thigh, figure four. You can leave your left foot where it is, or you can pull that figure four in close, encircling your hands around the back of the left thigh if you like. You can roll through that left ankle as it's kind of floating there in space. Relax your shoulders, soften through your throat. Relax your jaw. Start to release that side, re-extend the right foot up towards the ceiling, give it just a little press through the heel, and then rebend the right knee, plant that foot. Left leg, lift it. Extend through that left leg. It's like you could stamp the sole of the foot on the ceiling. And then start to bend the knee, place the ankle onto the opposite thigh, figure four. This is a perfectly great place to work. If you want more, if the body can handle more, if it's wise to do so, you can pull that in close, encircling the hands around the back of the right thigh. Just check out the shoulders and the neck and the jaw to make that decision. Sometimes when we really over effort to get into a shape because we think it's, it looks good or it's the right thing to do, we're kind of, if we're forcing it, causing more harm. So you always want to pay attention to your breath. And then, like, for example, with hip work, what's happening in the upper body? What's happening above that hip work? What's going on in the shoulders, the neck, and the jaw? Is the tension moving there? Can you keep the awareness in the hips? We'll start to slowly release this side. Re-extend that left leg high. Press through that left heel. And then plant that left foot. Okay, option to take Happy Baby or Apanasana as your final shape here. You could also do both. You can rock a little bit side to side. And keep coming back to the breath as your metronome, as your teacher, as your guide. And start to think about how you'd like to set up for your Shavasana. And can that setup be something that's conducive of stillness? And so it can be really simple. You can just simply stretch out on your back, extend through your arms and your legs, relax your shoulders down the back. You can also add props underneath the body, or you can sit upright if you prefer, or you could take legs up the wall. Either way, let's settle in. Let's see if we can give ourselves at least a minute here to just be still, to just rest. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Please feel free to take all the time you need here. If you do need to move on with your day, be gentle as you awaken. Fingertips, toes, moving the head side to side. Maybe breathe into the full length of the body. You can stretch the arms overhead if you like. Bending the knees, rolling off to a side. And then start to make your way up to a final seated position. Feel free to sit on top of something. We won't be here too long. I just want to take about 3 breath cycles. See if you can elongate the exhale. So you might count that inhale. See how long that inhale takes you, and then can you extend your exhale out a little bit longer? Count the exhale. Try that twice more. Maybe you take this practice with you today. If you get into a situation where you feel like you start to feel your breath becoming shallow, your heart rate's increasing, something's irritating you, could you just pause before you respond and take a few mindful breaths where the exhale is just a little bit longer? Let's close out our practice by bringing the hands together at the heart, bowing the chin in, honoring our practice and our effort with reverence and gratitude. May you remember that you will always be okay. Find a light that guides you and keeps you safe, and have hope, help, and happiness along the way. Namaste, yogis. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Appreciate you. Take care of yourselves. Until next time.